Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's your boy Vic's Vibes, and today is day number 9 of our 30-day challenge, our 30-day Meta Spark challenge, where we're going 30 days straight live streaming, showing the journey, learning out loud, going through all 3 courses that have been made available from Meta for free, which is a huge sign in a very fast-paced and emerging industry in the augmented reality, mixed reality space. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is literally going through all 3 courses. All right, we're already through course number 1 if you've been following along. If not, don't worry, because if you go to my actual YouTube channel, Vic's Vibes Unplugged, there is a playlist that will actually play all 30 days in a row. Everything is there, nothing held back. You'll be able to go through every single video. Leave comments. I definitely will be responding to all of those as well. All right, with that being said, today we are actually getting into working with segmentation as the very first video. Here, let me pull up the notes. You guys will be able to see my notes as well as we take them. Since there is a lot of like clicking and actually doing, a lot of learning these softwares is actually doing. It's not necessarily noteworthy, but when those notes do come in, we will be taking them. I would like to mention, however, though, that there is a PDF, right? So what my plans is once we're complete with all of the courses and I actually know like the lingo and things like that, then I plan to go through the actual PDF to really fine tune my knowledge to make sure I fully understand. So this is also going to be dumped back into my notes once we actually get through the curriculum. So as you can see, we are already 8 days strong, ladies and gentlemen. We got a 30-day lineup. All of the videos that we're going to be covering and each topic are already there. And with that being the case, today is day number 9, in which we will be covering working with segmentation, occlusion, not inclusion, all right, and then intro to the patch editor. Now, we've gotten a small intro to the patch editor in course 1, but I'm sure this one will be a lot more in depth, all right? So, with that being said, again, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I appreciate everybody for following this journey, and I definitely hope that we are helping everybody kind of move along and learning this skill set. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and pop off video number 1 of the day. Let's get to it. Hold on, wait. Why is showing my audio is to my TV? Let me back to the network. All right. Let's see. Hold on. Matter of fact, let me get in on my phone. Y'all remember the other day I went and recorded a whole episode. I didn't even have audio, you know? So let me go ahead and play it, then I'll check audio.
There are all sorts of use cases for using segmentation inside of Spark AR. But before we get into those, let's first understand what segmentation actually is. Now, in many circumstances, we find ourselves needing to isolate a person or a group of people in a scene so that we can manipulate them in some way, sort of like using a mask in image editing software to cut out the person. For instance, let's say we want to create an effect where everything in our scene appears completely normal and in full color, but the people in the scene appear in black and white. In order to do this, we need to isolate or segment the people from everything else in the scene so that we can desaturate just them. This is where Spark AR segmentation comes into play. Currently, Spark AR has 2 types of segmentation that are available to use in your projects: body segmentation and hair segmentation. Body segmentation will attempt to detect any human forms in the scene and segment them from the scene in real time. This is what we'd use to turn the people in the scene to black and white. Another form of segmentation available in Spark AR is hair segmentation, which is exactly what it sounds like. Spark AR will attempt to detect the hair on top of someone's head and segment it from the scene. Using this type of segmentation, that would allow us to create effects that can change someone's hair color and much more. Now, segmentation is one of the most powerful tools in scene understanding, and because of this, it can sometimes be CPU intensive to lower end devices, meaning that your effects might run at a lower frame rate, or they might even be restricted to devices that are more capable of running them. So as you build your effects, keep in mind, there's a lot of devices and a lot of connection speeds out there in the world. So make sure you're always factoring in the experience for the end user in all of your creations.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Masking segmentation, again, we have a range of people that are going to be watching this, but essentially what he was saying was, like, let's say this is the scene and the AR filter that we're using, let's say you are the camera, right? Let's say this AR filter makes me black and white, but keeps the world into color, then that's what they're calling a segmentation. All right, taking a segment out of the video, and keeping everything else the same. Two types: the body and the hair segmentation. Cool, 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 cool. So moving on to video number 2, that is occlusion. And I'm pretty sure I've never heard of it before, but it sounds like inclusion. So occlusion is probably like not this or something. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it.
When developing an AR, you'll find yourself oftentimes needing to hide a virtual object behind a real object. For instance, in this effect, I want to hide this virtual pink sphere behind my very real head. This hiding is known as occlusion, and it doesn't happen automatically. When you first start developing an AR, you might be surprised that your objects don't behave like you'd expect. Without another virtual object to hide behind, this pink sphere, which is also virtual, looks like it's in front of my head and never behind it. So we need to add a virtual object in our scene and then make it invisible for this sphere to hide behind. So let's get started. Now, the first place we're going to start is by going to the Spark AR website. Once there, you can search for face reference assets, and that will take you to this page where you can download a zip file that contains a series of models and textures that
I really liked how our other guy would actually put the assets right there at the bottom of the screen. I ain't complaining or nothing, but it's just that there's so many different websites under the Meta Spark, the rebranding from Spark AR and all this stuff. So it's like, because of that, it'd be hard to kind of find where they're even talking about stuff being. So I like when they put the assets right at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? All right, bet. So face reference assets. All right, let me bring this in. Let's see. Download the. Wait, let me make sure he said download the face reference assets.
you can use when developing for faces. So let's add this now that I have this extracted on my computer.
Okay. So let me go ahead and download this. We're actually going to need this quite often. So let me actually put this into a folder that is dedicated to my Spark. Let's see, another Spark. There we go. Yeah, I want to go ahead and start getting my file management together and everything, because as we go ahead and continue to just download, one asset here, one asset there, I already know that stuff starts to add up for real. So, base assets, got it downloaded. Boom, boom, base assets, perfect. All right, cool. So now let's go ahead and open up a blank project in Studio. We'll be up here in a second. What I want to do is go ahead and get our, let me get this in here. All right, good to go. Good to go. All right, now we want to go ahead and import. Anybody remember how we import? About enough? No, not the library, actually. We're actually importing from our computer this time because we actually have the file downloaded. So we'll be going to desktop. I'm going to be going to my Meta Spark, and then I'm going to be bringing in my face asset. Go ahead and close that out. Now we up and running.
Computer. We're going to go add asset, import from library. And let me back up here so I can explain how these folders work. There's two folders inside of here once you unzip it. One of them is full of your face meshes. Now these are your objects. So these are going to be your face mesh here and your head occluder. So you put these together and they form a thing. The textures, on the other hand, are going to be what you use when you're doing things like face painting or doing alphas. It's a good way to use these as references to track areas on the face. What we care about today are the meshes. And what we need to import is this DAE file right here. We're going to take this file and we're going to drag it up into our face tracker, and you're going to see it appear in our scene.
Yeah, see, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I ain't complaining or nothing, but it's just like, what all assets do bro already have in his scene? You see what I'm saying? Like, we don't have anything even in our scene. What are you talking about added to the face tracker? Face tracker, what else he had? Okay, let me go ahead and add in the face tracker. No, I ain't saying hold our hand, but it would be nice to know. It would be nice to know what direction we're going with things. You feel me? All right, cool. Let's get back into it. Back up half a step. Make sure we all on the same page.
We're going to take this file and we're going to drag it up into our face tracker, and you're going to see it appear in our scene. The first thing we do is scale it up a little bit to match my head. The next thing we do is we're going to go over to our materials, and we're going to make the opacity about 50% or so, and then switch this to alpha so we can see through it. That way we can tell that our ball is passing behind our object. Now, you might think we can just make this opaque right now, but if you see, that doesn't work because the ball is still not hiding behind it. What we need to do is keep the opacity up, but just make sure that it's in front of the ball in the final render. So the way that you do that is by using something called layers. Over here, over by this opaque right now, that our ball, the next thing we do is we're going to go over to our materials, and we're going to make the opacity about 50% or so, and then switch this to alpha so we can see through it. That way we can tell that our ball is passing behind our object. Now, you might think we can just make this opaque right now, but if you see, that doesn't work because the ball is still not hiding behind it. What we need to do is keep the opacity up, but just make sure that it's in front of the ball in the final render. So the way that you do that is by using something called layers. Over here, over by your scene panel over here, click on layers and then click add layer, and that will create a new layer on the top. Go back to your scene.
Oh, just in case anybody is wondering, no, we don't have a rotating ball. Yeah, I don't know where he brought that in from. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, I'm not complaining about the provided education here. But it's just like, yo, it would be nice to go ahead and have the assets to know what we're actually manipulating. So as you're saying, oh yeah, come up here and click right here. Like, all right, we have that. So let me see. I'll try to see if I can do the same thing that he's doing. That's right. All right, let's see. I'm gonna try to bring in. I haven't made a. It's gonna be tough. I haven't made a account for the other assets, so I'm just gonna use the eyeball for now. Hope y'all don't judge me. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay. And then let's try to go view or viewport. I want to see my I want to trigger window. I want to see my patch editor. So I should be able to do it from home too. Workspace, patch editor. All right. So we have our eyeball essentially. And we need it to rotate. Or not rotate, but what would they call that? Orbit, animate, spin, float, blink, pulse. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to just do it because I don't even know how to do it, But I want to be able to duplicate what they have already. I ain't gonna lie. It sucks that they haven't done that. Like, don't give us the assets like they were doing. Let me just scroll down on creating our screen. Yeah. Let's just follow along conceptually and make sure that we get it, because without the assets, without it actually being there for us to actually practice it, we can only really conceptualize it, guys. Sorry about that.
Select your head occluder and then select the new layer that you created and go ahead and say everything underneath it. Now, you'll notice that our ball is still passing behind our head. So if we go back over here to layers, select your layer that you just created and now drag it to the bottom of the list, which means that it gets rendered last. You'll notice that it is now in front of the ball. So now we have an order for how these things are supposed to appear in our scene, which means we can go back to our material and then set our opacity back to 0. And you'll notice that it now appears behind my head or disappears behind my head. Now, I'm going to kick my head a little bit to the side here to show you. It looks like it's going into my cheek, right? So if I take the opacity and I kick it back up, you'll see why. And it's because it's hiding behind that model. And that model doesn't exactly adhere to my face the way that a face mesh would. So let's go ahead and just add a face mesh. So let's do that. First, we're going to add a face mesh. We're going to set it to the same layer as our occluder. And then we're going to uncheck eyes and mouth, and then set our material to the same material that we're using for our head occluder, right? So you'll notice that when I tilt my head to the side, now it matches up pretty well as it's going behind things. Now we're going to go back over to our material and set it down to 0. Now we have occlusion. So now the ball is actually hiding behind my head, just like it should.
Awesome concept, to say the least. It's amazing. I wish we were able to actually replicate it. And I don't want to waste time trying to figure it out on you guys. But that sucks. Yeah, I'm not, post this, I'm definitely going to be looking for a way to get this duplicated, because again, we gotta be able to go in and click through and practice these things for real. That's high key to point. Practicing occlusion, like, that's gonna be such a big part. And without going through and clicking the buttons and seeing what it is, that's a part of it for sure.
And that's it. That's all there is to it. So I hope this helps you better understand how to use occlusion in your projects, and good luck.
I will say it's at least good to know that is the option. Like, that's the thing that we will use it for. So we know, like, that's a feature essentially. We know that, hey, if if I'm holding a cup, right, and I'm trying to put, let's say, ice cream inside the cup. Well, you don't want the ice cream to be in front of the cup at all. So an occluder would need to, be on the front of the cup. So once we place it down within that, it won't, show out in front. So I'm just conceptually, it's good that we're at least, introduced to the concept, so we know that is going to be something that we'll be able to use within this experience. So I genuinely hope that, that was just a little nuance, and that they do a better job with providing the assets to what we're actually going to be building. Because as these become more complex, then it's like literally us just looking at video without having those assets there. I don't know. It's not as, it's not as amazing as it could be if we were actually given the project file so that we can go and do it. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. This is going to be intro to the patch.
One of the most powerful tools in Spark AR is the patch editor. It makes building complex interactions inside of your effects a breeze, and really the best way to learn how to use the patch editor is just go ahead and get inside of there and play around. So let's do it. Let's create a brand new face tracking project so we can start playing with the patch editor. First, go to Create New, New Project, and then select Face Tracking. We're sitting inside of a blank face tracking project in order to start understanding how we can take the face trackers or other trackers and expose them.
Hold up, real quick. Let me just, let me just make sure something real quick. Let me just make sure when he opened his project, he didn't open up a template. Let me just verify. Because if that's the case, then I got to take back everything I said. But I could have swore he just said open up a new project. Or that he just already on the project.
Here, behind my you'll find when developing an AI.
He opened the project and it was already, so that's good.
To the patch editor. In this case, we're going to take the face tracker, expose it to the patch editor, and then start playing with some facial gestures to manipulate something in our scene. So let's get started. The first thing we need to do is click on AR Library and then go to 3D Shapes, scroll down. I'm just going to go ahead and click on this heart because I like this one. Close that. We'll take the heart, we'll drag it up underneath the face tracker, and you'll notice that it tracks to my face 1-to-1. So let's go ahead and set the material settings, make it pink, make it nice and metallic.
All right, bringing in, here, let me go ahead and, let me go ahead and get you guys together, done, cool. So we should have our heart in there. I'll go ahead and delete everything from, do it all at once. I'm gonna go ahead and delete everything that we're not using from that last scene so that we're left only with our heart textures. Okay. So now we have our face tracker in and we have our heart. I think he went in and changed the material to pink. I'll change mine to red. Cool. All right. Did he bring it in already? Yeah, he brought it to the face tracker. Cool. All right. So we all on the same page.
A little shiny. We'll set the blend mode to multiply so we can see through it. Close that. We'll take the heart, we'll drag it up underneath the face tracker, and you'll notice that it tracks to my face 1-to-1. So let's go ahead and set the material settings, make it pink, make it nice and metallic, a little shiny. We'll set the blend mode to multiply so we can see through it. And now let's scale it up. So it's still tracking to my nose, and I'd like to set it a little more in the center of my cranium. So I want to kick it back a little bit, but I want to make sure that it's in the right spot. One trick that you can use is to just add a face mesh underneath your face tracker, and that will show where your face is in the scene. So I'll take my heart, back it up a little bit. That's not bad. Pretty close. It's not dead center, but not too bad. But one trick that you can use is to just add a face mesh underneath your face tracker, and that will show where your face is in the scene.
Oh, I was wondering why he said he was doing it, but to add that so that you can actually see as you're creating, that makes a lot of sense. So we got our heart in, we brought it in under our face tracker. Once you have your heart in, right click it and then you're gonna hit add object, and then you're gonna come down to your face mesh. And then he was just adjusting his face mesh location. Here, let me come in a little bit, rotate this around. Pause this. Yeah, I don't know where we're going specifically with this as well, so let me just hold off a little bit on that. Materials, tag, like you said. Everything. I'm pretty sure he, I think he went, was it multiply? Let me check what setting he went with.
So I'll take my heart. Sure that it's in the right. Nice and metallic, a little shiny. We'll set the blend mode to multiply so we can see through it. And now let's scale it up. So it's still tracking to my nose, and I'd like to set it a little more in the center of my cranium. So I want to kick it back a little bit, but I want to make sure that it's in the right spot. One trick that you can use is to just add a face mesh underneath your face tracker, and that will show where your face is in the scene. So I'll take my heart, back it up a little bit. That's not bad. Pretty close. It's not dead center, but not too bad. Okay. Go ahead and wipe this out now. We don't need the face mesh anymore. So now we have our heart, and now we need to expose it to the patch editor so we can start playing with it. So how do we do that?
Wait,
well, you can go up here to view, and you can do show height.
Let me see if he deleted that.
Go ahead and wipe this out now. We don't need the face mesh anymore.
Okay, so you just kind of used it temporarily. I like that. I like that. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and delete our face mesh. Delete. Cool. Let's hit play. Let me see something real quick. If I move it back further, yeah, you can see it through. Okay. All right. Okay, cool. I think we all on the same page.
So now we have our heart, and now we need to expose it to the patch editor so we can start playing with it. So how do we do that? Well, you can go up here to view, and you can do show hide patch editor, or you can go over here to your workspace button and click show hide patch editor, or you can use these shortcuts that are provided here. Most people use the shortcuts after you start getting used to the software. So in order to access these, you just take the face tracker and you drag it right down into your scene. So now that we have our face tracker dragged into our scene, I'm going to explain to you what each of these does. These are each called patches, and together they form something called a graph. So as you build patches, you're essentially building a graph. Can get a little loose in terms, but that's essentially how it works out. The first one is called a face finder, and what that does is it finds all the faces in the scene, and you can see the one port here is exposing all the information about all of the faces, and the other port is just simply counting how many faces are in the scene. So the next piece of it is the face select, which is essentially saying, I want to pick a particular face in the scene. Now, in programming, most indexes or most numbered lists start out at 0. So 0 in programming is 1. So how that translates is that this index of 0 means it's looking for the first face in the scene. So this is all set up for us to find the first face in the scene. And then the next next patch we're looking at here is the particular face tracker patch that exposes everything about me to the patch editor, to how my face is to moving around in the scene and what I'm actually doing. So let's pretend that we're building an effect here. And the first thing we want to do is, I don't want this heart to be covering my face. I want to do a facial gesture to make it appear. So let's scale it up. So let's do something like a head nod. to scale it up. That'll be our first interaction we do. All you have to do to add these is just double click anywhere in the patch editor here, and that will open up your patch menu, or you can go down here and click add patch. Same difference. So we'll double click here, and you can easily search, but they're all listed out in each category here. But we're just going to go ahead and search and type in head nod, and there's head nod right there. I'm going to click enter and add it, and you can see here this is looking for a port called face, and we have a port here called face. So if I just drag and connect these, look at that, connects perfectly. So just something to keep in mind, if you're trying to connect to the wrong thing, it won't connect. So it's hard to get this wrong. All right, so you have your head nod, and when I nod my head, this is a pulse it's going to send out here. So I want to run an animation to essentially say scale the heart up. When I nod my head, run an animation and scale the heart up from 0 to 1. So I feel like I want to play with this scale later on. So I don't necessarily want to mess with this port yet, because you can only really access it once without some complex logic. So I'm going to show you a quick way to get around that. All you have to do is use something called a null object. So we're going to drop a null object underneath our face tracker and then put the heart underneath the null object. So a null object is very similar in web design like a container. It's like a div or a span that you can wrap around. And that will influence anything underneath it. That means I can scale this null object from 0 to 1 and not really have to worry about scaling these values, which I'll access later on. So this is a pretty fun little tip that you can figure out yourself. So let's go ahead and build this animation out. And I'm going to take the scale, I'm going to drop it in here, and I am going to add an animation patch in here. And when I nod my head, I just want to play it. I don't need to loop it or anything. I just want to play it. And we're going to run a transition patch after this, because the animation patch essentially is just telling it to animate. The transition is actually what we're telling how to animate. And we want to do 0 to 1. So we're just going to leave this just like it is. And you'll notice when I connected this, the heart is now gone from my face. So that means that the scale is now sitting at 0. This has never registered a head nod. I'm just going to go ahead and refresh everything here, right? So we have our scene completely refreshed. I'm going to nod my head. Perfect. Okay, so we have our head nod, and that scales up. So now,
let me go back a little bit. I have a bunch of it in. I think somewhere along my head nod to animation to my null object or to my scale, I have an error here. So I'm gonna back it up a little bit, troubleshoot and make sure I got everything in. So I got the animation, the null object, 3D.
I'll run a transition patch after this, because the animation patch.
Oh, transition. I'll put animation. Transition. Transition. All right. Did it go to? Is that even it? Let me see. Okay, yeah. Oh, it is animation and transition. I got you. My bad, boss. Got you. Taking the animation. Okay. Okay. Got you. All right, let's see now.
In here, and I am going to add an animation patch in here. And when I nod my head, I just want to play it. I don't need to loop it or anything. I just want to play it. And we're going to run a transition patch after this, because the animation patch essentially is just telling it to animate. The transition is actually what we're telling how to animate. Okay. And we want to do 0 to 1. So we're just going to leave this just like it is. And you'll notice when I connected this, the heart is now gone from my face. So that means that the scale is now sitting at 0. This has never registered a head nod. I'm just going to go ahead and refresh everything here, right? So we have our scene completely refreshed. I'm going to nod my head. Perfect. Okay, so We have our head nod, and
Hold up, man. Let me get my head nod in there. It's us. Oh! Oh! We did it! Wait, did we do it? Was it there before? Hold on, let me let me alright man, no, we did it. Alright, so no, we ain't got none. Hold on. Yeah, no, we ain't kicked back. So is there a restart? Stop. Oh, restart. Okay, so we restarted. Yeah, that didn't do nothing. Let me make sure everything connected. Stop. Play. Yeah, it's not popping back up. Let me see if I change my video to somebody else. Yeah, nah. Gotta see what's going on. Let's see. I'm pretty sure there has to be like a like after it does it, it reset type of thing. And I don't think I have that. So yeah, yeah, restart. There we go. There we go. There we go. I bet. Okay, let's get back to it. Let's get back to it.
and that scales up. So now let's say I want to get rid of it in some way. So now I have it up, and let's say I want to shake my head to get rid of it. So nod my head to make it appear, shake my head to get rid of it, right? Double click, look for head shake. Hey, look at that. And we'll say, let's connect the same face patch to here. And let's say when I do a head shake, I just want to reverse it, right? So let's try that. Okay, not bad, not bad. So let's do something that's, let's change this to an elastic out just to make it a little more fun. So we're going to try the head nod one more time, right? And the head shake.
Your boy fine, wallah. See, it's I'm about to restart and doing it again. That ain't be. He'll be rocking with me, dog. Yeah, we got to figure out how to. It won't do that if it. Oh, there you go. You gotta be something to it. Love. Get out of here. Come on, face tracker. All right, let me make sure I'm really studying what he's saying here. So we went here. Let me do this for y'all. Oh, my bad. Y'all couldn't even see my boy. I bet. Let's get it. Let me go ahead and make sure that you guys, let's really review the patch editor right here. All right. So here's my patch editor. We have the face finder. All right. That's the actual piece of logic that is going to go in and try to locate. Let me make sure y'all can see it. Good. Nice. All right, bet. Let me make it a little bit bigger for y'all. Ooh. All right. So we first have the face finder. That is going to be the thing that we use, or the tool that actually goes and be able to find these faces. All right. Then we have our face select. Okay. If we were to disconnect these, and you go to the left side of the face finder, like it actually will tell you what those tabs are for. So we have faces and we have count. He said if we wanted to increase the amount and stuff like that, then we'd need to use that. But we're just trying to connect it to faces so that it'll be attached to the actual face. That's a face selector. We also needed to be tracking the face. All right. If it wasn't necessarily on a face tracker, then when we make our motions, it wouldn't even be associated with that necessarily. So we went face to face. Then we go face tracker to head shake, face tracker to head nod. Those are the two animations that we selected. So we just went in and we double clicked the patch editor, we typed head. That gives you head nod and head shake for the two animations. If we go to just the animations tab, transition, progress, loop, there's multiple different types. Nice. Okay. So we brought in head nod and then we brought in head shake. Okay. When the head nods, we're gonna play the animation, and when the head shake, we're going to reverse the animation. The actual animation is changing our start to our end to a scale up of 1, essentially. And then, the curve, that's what we did. I don't know if y'all can see this. Yeah. We did this when we did the UFO, and we were saying how we wanted to actually change and things like that. So, okay. And then that transition goes to the null object. The null object is so that we weren't actually changing our actual object. So I think that's going to play a very important role in, asset creation down the road. I think that may be a small detail right now, the null object part, but I definitely think that's going to play a huge role. So just making sure that we picking up on all the small features that are bringing these experiences together, because before long it's going to be like, those are the things that you need to be able to bring this stuff together for a picture. All right. So with that being said, let's get back to the video.
Pretty cool, right? So those are pretty fun. Those are really easy ways that you can use facial gestures to control things within your scene. So the next thing we want to do is, let's say we want to start playing with, let's make our heart appear first of all. Okay, so our heart's here, and what we want to do is, let's say as I'm talking, as I'm have my mouth is opening and closing, I want to scale the heart a little bit to make it look like it's beating, right? So that's what we can use the scale right here for. So I told you I was going to save it, and that's what we're going to save it for. So here's how you can do that. So my mouth is opening and closing. So let's see what we have for mouth. Well, look at that. Mouth open. Just typed in the word mouth, and there it is. So we can use this the exact same way. We'll just take this, connect it to here. We'll go to mouth open, and you'll notice one of these ports is called openness. So I'm going to show you how this works. I'm just going to click on it so you can see the openness. And it goes from 0 to 1 as you open your mouth. So you can think 0 to 100%. It's kind of how it works. So what I want to do is take this and use it for the scale openness. It's the exact same way. We'll just take this, connect it to here. We'll go to mouth open, and you'll notice one of these ports is called openness. So I'm going to show you how this works. I'm just going to click on it so you can see the openness. And it goes from 0 to 1 as you open your mouth. So you can think 0 to 100%. It's kind of how it works. So what I want to do is take this and use it for the scale. So I know that my scale right now is at 6 all the way across, right? So we'll take this heart scale, we'll drop it in here. It's at 6 all the way across. So I want to start at 6. I don't want to scale it from 0.
All right, I had mine on 2, but I changed mine. So it's a little bit bigger. Okay, cool. Fit working real stuff. All right, so then he said we're gonna bring in a heart scale.
That'd be way too much animation. So all they want to do really is just add something to it. And we know that this is a 3 vector number. So if I plug anything into here, this isn't going to work because it's just, well, there you go. It's not going to work, and it's not going to connect right because this is expecting 3 values, and this really only has 1 value. So all you have to do is use this drop down. We'll select it to a vector 3, then we can connect it. And we know at this point we're going to be scaling. We want to start with a 6, right? So our value all the way across is going to be 6. That's what we're starting with. And our mouth openness, we're just going to add to it. So let's completely start this project totally over. Now we're going to nod. Now, when I talk, you can see it grow, right? It doesn't grow quite as much as I want it to. So what I want to do is take this mouth openness value and just multiply it. It's going to add to it. So let's completely start this project totally over. Now we're going to nod.
Yeah, my reset don't just be resetting as easy as his does. Make sure. Okay. And then when we get to talking, it should start scaling up and down. No, it ain't. So what's going on? Let's see. Let's see. Did we set our... We didn't actually set the mouth openness to anything. Face. Let me make sure we got everything. So the face, mouth open. Yeah, see it. All right, cool.
Now, when I talk, you can see it grow, right? It doesn't grow quite as much as I want it to. So what I want to do is take this mouth openness value and just multiply it so we can kick up the addition that we're doing here later on. So we'll go ahead and throw a multiply in between here and do that. So this is a 1. So let's just make it a 10. So now it's gonna add 10, right? Pretty cool. So now as I talk, this thing is kind of like a beating heart. And then also, remember, when I want to get rid of it, I just shake my head. So now let's do something that's kind of fun, which is playing with the colors of things. We're going to do that real.
Mm, 10. Open this. Talk. I don't know. I don't think mine is linked up the right way. Oh. Output to the talk. Walk. Yeah. Let me see. We got mouth open. It's gonna multiply by a factor of. Hold on. Let me see. Did he change his top number or his bottom number? Let me play the video a little bit.
This thing is kind of like a beating heart. And then also, remember, when I want to get rid of it, I just shake my head. So now let's do something that's kind of fun, which is playing with the colors of things. We're going to do that really quick. And our mouth openness, we're just going to add to it. So let's completely start this project totally over.
Oh, that was it too. I didn't restart. All right. So restart. Yeah, let me bring y'all in. Y'all can see it. So we got head nod. Should bring up the heart. Let's see. All right. Reverse. Bring it back up. My mouth open joint is not working. Talk. So yeah, mouth, face, multiply. Okay, let me disconnect these. This one is. Yeah, like it's two values. Let me just delete it and bring it back in. Number of inputs 2, 8, info. Yeah, let me bring multiply back in. Multiply input. The value of each output you can multiply to the 8 output to calculate a result. Okay. Like, oh, okay. I think I had deleted my top number before and put 0. I bet. So now my mouth openness, put that to that. My output to my in. Yeah, it's doing it. Yeah. So hold on, let me see something. Yeah, like, can you only change the factor? Let me see, 20. You change to a factor of 20 because it's just not dramatic. Test. So now when I'm talking and everything, it should be beating. I don't know. Let me listen to what he does.
Now we're going to nod. Now, when I talk, you can see it grow, right? It doesn't grow quite as much as I want it to. So what I want to do is take this mouth openness value and just multiply it so we can kick up the addition that we're doing here later on. So I'll go ahead and throw a multiply in between here and do that. So this is a 1. So let's just make...
He's actually drawing his mouth openness to the top value. Made the whole difference. Wow. So yeah, now we really in there. Yeah, we in there now. I bet. Shake my head. Bring it up. Hold on, let me reset my world. All right, reset. All right, head nod. Boom. If I get that talking, yes, sir. Ah! No, let's get it out of there. Oh, we in there. We in there. Let's get it.
Get a 10. So now it's gonna add 10, right? Pretty cool.
Gotcha.
So now as I talk, this thing is kind of like a beating heart. And then also, remember, when I want to get rid of it, I just shake my head.
Okay.
So now let's do something that's kind of fun, which is playing with the colors of things. I'm going to do that really quick. So the transition patch is pretty fun. You'll notice we used it up here and we connect it to an animation. This animation really is just running a value between 0 and 1, and that's how this progress works. Well, mouth openness also goes between 0 and 1, which means I can use it as a progress. And then it will go up and down like a yo-yo. So let's say I want to go between some colors. And as I talk, I want to change the colors on the heart. So we're going to go over here to our material. We're going to select it. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to take our texture. We're going to drop it in here. And before I get rid of this pink, I really like it. So we're just going to keep it. I'm going to change the color. I can use it as a progress. And then it will go up and down like a yo-yo. So let's say I want to go between some colors. And as I talk, I want to change the colors on the heart. So we're going to go over here to our material. We're going to select it. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to take our texture. We're going to drop it in here. And before I get rid of this pink, I really like it. So we're just going to keep it. We're going to copy it, say OK. And then I'm going to take this value and we'll set this to this pink. And then let's take this end value and let's pick something like kind of like the sparky teal. So we'll do kind of the spark colors there. All right, so we have our transition colors and everything's hooked up. Now, before we do anything, we need to make sure that we go back here and we reset this back to white. Now we can connect these. Okay, so let's start the effect all over again. Refresh. We'll do a nod. Our heart is there. As we talk and open our mouth, it beats and it actually changes colors. And we want to get rid of it, we just shake our head. And that's it. So you can see how you can quickly start playing with these patches and really make something pretty powerful pretty quickly. So we did all this in just a few minutes. And I hope that really explains how much power you have to start pulling things over here and one. And before I get rid of this pink, I really like it, so we're just going to keep it.
I don't know where they be getting their hex color from. It's under the what tab? Oh, the second tab. Yeah, that ain't on mine no more. I'm like, bro, I've been trying to get the FFCC00. I've been trying to like copy it, obviously. Oh, oh, you got to be under RGB sliders. Got you. Okay, I bet. All right, bet.
Copy it, say okay, and then I'm going to take this value and we'll set this to this pink. And then let's take this end value and let's pick something like kind of like the sparky teal. So we'll do kind of the spark colors there. All right, so we have our transition colors and everything's hooked up. Now, before we do anything, we need to make sure that we go back here and we reset this back to white. Now we can connect these. Okay, so let's start the effect all over again. Refresh. We'll do a nod. Our heart is there. As we talk and open our mouth, it beats and it actually changes colors. And we want to get rid of it, we just shake our head. And that's it. So you can see how you can quickly start playing with these patches and really make something pretty powerful pretty quickly. So we did all this in just a few minutes. And I hope that really explains how...
It should be changing color though, isn't it? Progress. Oh, wait. Alright, bring it back. Let me refresh my brain. I think as I'm talking, if I'm not mistaken, it should be activating the color change. Test. Yeah. Let me see. Now to open this transition. Let me see. Let me go back a little bit.
We'll set this to this pink. And then let's take this end value and let's now, well, mouth openness also goes between 0 and 1, which means I can use it as a progress. And then it will go up and down like a yo-yo. So let's say I want to go between some colors. And as I talk, I want to change the colors on the heart. So we're going to go over here to our material. We're going to select it. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to take our texture. We're going to drop it in here. And before I get rid of this pink, I really like it, so we're just going to keep it. We're going to copy it, say okay, and then I'm going to take this value and we'll set this to this pink. And then let's take this end value and let's pick something like kind of like the sparky teal. So we'll do kind of the spark colors there. All right, so we have our transition colors and everything's hooked up. Now, before we do anything, we need to make sure that we go back here and we reset this back to white. Now we can connect these.
What?
Okay, so let's start the effect all over again.
I don't fully understand what we would do. Talking. I guess it is. Oh, it is switching to yellow. Okay. Man, I ain't opening my pause. Completely. My apologies. I'm basically just saying. Just this shit. I'm trying to get the full effect, but y'all ain't about to catch me lagging and try to get this thing running. Alright. I think it will even change this. Alright, it's not working perfect though. Yeah, that's crazy. We did it, y'all. We for sure did it, man. So let's just review the patch. This is probably gonna be my favorite part to like fully grasp and understand. Um, yeah, let me get y'all in here. All right, bet. So I'm actually gonna not full screen this. So that, all right, cool. All right, so I'm gonna restart it real quick, just so that you guys could like fully see everything. All right, boom, 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 boom. Here we are with it. All right, you have uh uh uh. Y'all can't see the preview window. Acting brand new, ain't it? Hold on. Oh, they wildin'. Why don't got the preview window on y'all side? That's crazy. Oh, it wasn't docked. All right, bet. All right, so let's refresh. Boom. It's on 0. So nothing right now. If I slow nod, it still popped up. All right, bet. Let me see. Now, as I talk, y'all can see it's getting bigger and bigger. It's kind of moving as I'm talking and everything. If I open my mouth wide, pause, then y'all gonna see it start changing yellow. Close, red. As a matter of fact, let me just let me change these. Green, yellow. So green, yellow, green, yellow, green, yellow. All right, and you can see that it's getting bigger as I, open my mouth, as well as the color change. So the color change and the size are both relative to how, the openness of the mouth and everything. And then if I want to just completely get rid of the heart altogether, just shake my head, and then it goes small and goes away. Man, with that being said, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I feel like this is a really good episode, man. We're right at about an hour. But if you were able to work all the way through it, man, get all the way through it, I definitely think that you're walking away with some value. So let me just real quick, I'll show my patch. So just in case you need to go in and like duplicate where the strings are or anything like that, I want to just show that. All right. So first, we got the face finder. Okay. The faces tab is gonna go to the faces tab. All right, those will connect. Then we have the face select. We're keeping that at 0, but the faces will connect to our face tracker. All right, the face tracker will use the face tab to connect to 3 different motions that we decided to go with, which is the head nod, the head shake, and open mouth. Okay. For the head nod and the head shake, those 2 are tied to the actual animation of the heart itself. It actually popping up and playing, and then reversing and going back to a state of 0 essentially. So we took the nod, and we took the shake both to their respective places. So when we nod, we wanted the animation to actually play, and then when we shake our head, we want the animation to reverse and go back. Okay? So if I change it to reset, let me see something. So if I nod, bring it up, talking, it just go back to 0. And then boom. I bet that make a lot of sense. All right, cool. So it could have been on reverse or reset, I think. I see. Reverse actually like reverses the transition, versus reset just takes it back to a state of 0. So reverse is actually a lot more smooth. Cool. So then the third thing that we did was the mouth open. So then with the mouth open, we had 2 things that we wanted to change. The multiply, as far as like how big. No. So the mouth open. So yeah, let me change this to 40 real quick. Let me see something. I bet. Yeah. I wanted to see that. Let me zoom out. Yeah. So, all right, cool. So if you look at the mouth open, this numerical value right here is the scale in which it will multiply. This is the number that you're multiplying by. So if I put 2, it would only multiply it at a scale of 2 at its maximum if it was 100% wide open. Versus I have it at 40. So now when I'm opening my mouth here, let me bring this in the picture for you guys a little bit. Because now as I open my mouth, if you guys can see at the top, it's exploding. It's super huge, right? So because I changed it to 40 as far as the actual multiplier. So that's essentially what that number comes down to, that the bottom value. So you're gonna take your face and you're gonna take it to what is this tab actually called? The openness, and you're gonna take it to the, it should be like progress. I wish it was labeled. But you're gonna take it to the top number, okay? You can change this bottom number to whatever multiple, but the larger the number, the larger it's gonna get. The other thing we did to the mouth openness was we added the transition, and we just picked 2 colors, and the curve is just gonna change like how the colors are transitioning in and out. So that doesn't necessarily matter too much, but you can change your colors by selecting this, and then you're gonna bring that to your basic color texture. To bring this in, what do we do? Oh, when you have your actual heart selected on the far top left hand corner, all right, then here, let me just make it inside so that you guys can see. All right, so go ahead and select your heart. To bring in your heart mat down here at the bottom. You're gonna go ahead and select heart, and then over here on scale, okay, on your scale, you're gonna go ahead and select that. Am I tripping? Yeah, I'm tripping. That wasn't it. This is the material. I'm tripping. Once you go to the heart material, as you can see, down at the bottom left. I select the material, and then when I hit the material, then we're gonna hit texture right here. Once we hit texture right here, then the heart material texture popped up. Okay. For some reason, I didn't fully understand this part, but we were supposed to go in and change the base color. I guess that's what it is. It's that base color so that the other colors can show up. So we needed to change our color back to white so that everything else could show up with the blend, the multiply. That makes sense. Okay. So that's how you bring in your base color texture. You go ahead, select your heart material on the left, on the far right hand side next to texture. You're going to actually hit the little arrow so that yellow arrow can appear. Okay. Let me go back to our patch editor. Okay, so that we got all of that in, and then we brought in our transition and our add. Okay, let's start with the top one. This is for our head nut and our head shake. This is gonna play in reverse, and essentially what this is doing is basically giving us a scale from 0 to 1. So when we say that we want a head shake, right? Boom, we head shake. It goes from a 0 state to the 1 state. All right. And then if we say we want to head nod, it takes us from our 0 to our 1. So that is our actual transition. If we wanted to change the scale at the end, then we will be able to go in and change it from our 1 to 1 or whatever the case may be. And then we did the same thing, but we added for our mouth openness so that we go from the mouth open to multiplying it by a scale of 40. And that's going to be added on to the scale of the heart as it goes in and changes. So a lot of logic here. I'm definitely going to save this project so I can always go back to it and refer back to it and things like that. Because being able to isolate these and recreate these exact type of scenarios is going to be important. So with that being said, man, this was really good. I hope you guys got a lot of value out of it. I think this is definitely one of those episodes that's going to help move the needle forward and being able to create these experiences, man. So with that being said, I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. We will be back tomorrow, man, for day number 10, bro. That's crazy. This is our 10th day that we'll be going in, man. 10th day, 10th day, 10th day. All right. So with that being said, you guys have a good night. Keep playing around with it. Pause again. I'm sorry. This is a crazy episode. But yeah, man, have a good one, man. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. See y'all.